In 1633, Windsor became the first permanent settlement in Connecticut. But for the last 3 decades, Windsor hasn't had a first. Windsor has been without a Democratic legislature since January of 1982. Now that might not be surprising at first glance, but think of this. Windsor has the 32nd largest population of cities and towns in the state. There are over 30 towns which have exclusive state legislative seats. That is to say that they have a legislative seat just within the confines of their town. There's another 27 towns that have majority districts. That's to say that the district, when put together, they have a majority of the residents. Windsor has no such luxury. The last legislature decided to apportion us into 3 separate districts. Almost impossible to elect a representative. I'm running for the legislative seat in the 60th district to bring Windsor its first Democrat representative in 3 decades. Windsor should not only have an exclusive district, but at least a majority district in dealing with issues that impact this region, this town, and the state of Connecticut. The legislators elected to this new body will determine the apportionment for the following decade. Is Windsor to go a 4th decade without a Democratic legislature? I think not, and I think you, just as I am bothered by this, and I think I can bring to the table the new ideas and leadership in addition to being a Windsor resident that understands Windsor's needs as well as the needs of the people of Windsor Locks and for the people in the state of Connecticut. Vote Milo Rusty Peck on August 10th, the Democratic primary. I was born and raised in Windsor, Connecticut by a mother and father who served in World War II. They dedicated their lives to public service and community service, being involved not only in town politics, but also the service organizations and the Little League. It's important to me to provide service to my community, and in this sense here, to the 60th Legislative District. My wife Ellen and I have been married for 37 years, and we have 6 children. I've decided to run for the legislature because I, like many of you probably, am tired of listening to what's going on in Hartford. I'm tired of being told of projected $3 billion deficits. I'm tired of hearing how we've balanced the budget by not spending and paying our bills, by borrowing more money. If we were to do that as individuals in our personal finances, we'd be foreclosed on. And that's my fear with the state. We're being foreclosed on providing the services that the public needs, the community. We've decided that a balanced budget is okay if we borrow and if we don't pay our bills. And as a result of doing that, our interest costs have steeply risen over the past 15 years, enough so that they've doubled, providing us less money to pay for current services. We don't fund our retirement plans. What happens? Our interest expense for that area goes up and also places in jeopardy retirements for teachers, firefighters, policemen, and state workers, dedicated public servants. We need to change. Our state bond rating is down. What does that mean? Our interest rates will go up. Not only have our interest rates to go up, but the extent of our interest expense has more than doubled in the last 15 years. What does that mean? We have only about 70 to 71 cents out of every dollar that we raise currently to pay for current services for the people of the state of Connecticut. That's the people that are supported by the Department of Children and Family Services. Right? That happens to be public education, the Department of Transportation, necessary services that you or I partake as members of the Connecticut community, as well as members of the Windsor Locks and Windsor community. Over the last 20 years, I've provided service to the citizens of Windsor in both an elected as well as appointed capacity. I've served 2 terms on the Windsor Town Council. I've served 3 terms on the Board of Education, where I've served as the Board of Education president. I've delivered to the citizens of Windsor responsible, level budgets that meet the needs not only of the constituents of the elected board, but also all residents in the town of Windsor. I've served on the Public Building Commission. I've served as the chair for the last 7 years on the Board of Assessment Appeal, making sure that the property tax is applied appropriately to each and every resident in Windsor. It's this knowledge which enables me to say to you that I have the ability to serve you in the state legislature. Please, on August 10th, vote Milo Rusty Peck.
Hi, I'm Betsy Kennison. I'm here at Windsor High School this afternoon to tell you about a neighbor of ours. Rusty Peck has grown up in Windsor, been a lifelong resident, currently serves as president of the Windsor Board of Education and has for the past 5 years. And now Rusty is stepping forward to be a Democratic candidate for the 60th House District. I urge you to consider his candidacy and to vote in the Democratic primary on August 10th. Rusty brings a background as a professor of municipal accounting and taxation, his experience as an attorney, and his passion as a lifelong Windsor resident and advocate for public education. We need a voice like that in Hartford and the Connecticut legislature, and we need his experience and his dedication. It's been a long time since we've had a Connecticut representative in this seat, and it would be great to have someone from our hometown to represent us in Hartford. So on August 10th, I urge you to vote in the Democratic primary and elect Rusty Peck, our elected representative for the 60th House District in the Connecticut legislature.
Hi, I'm Rusty Peck, a college professor and certified public accountant, and I'm running for the state legislature as the endorsed Democratic challenger. I'm here today at the Windsor High School. And in fact, we're in front of a sculpture that's dedicated to our Windsor educators whose excellence in teaching impart the building blocks necessary for our students to reach the stars. Education happens to be the core foundation on which a democracy is built. I'm here today at the high school because 65% of our expenditures on a municipal level deal with education. Part of the problem we have with our educational system right now is it's not being funded adequately. We're trying to fund 3 separate school systems with our public school budgets. We have the regular public schools, we have the magnet schools, and now we've added a third horse to the race, the charter schools. The legislature has been unwilling or unable to adequately fund education here in the state of Connecticut, placing a greater burden on local taxpayers to use property tax, which is tended to compete the old against the young, the rich against the poor, those that are on fixed incomes with those that have increasing levels of income. Is the system broken? Probably. Why do I say probably? Because we keep telling ourselves that it's broken. We can't apply a Band-Aid to a cut. We can no longer apply a tourniquet to this problem because the limb falls off. The great baseball poet laureate Yogi Berra once said, "If you don't know where you're going, you may end up at a place you don't understand and you can't see." That's how I feel about the education here in the state of Connecticut, and particularly how the legislature has funded it. 5 years ago, I was asked to run for the Board of Education. As an educator for over 20 years at the college level, I was intrigued by being able to serve on the Board of Education and to learn my way. It was a high learning curve, and that's one of the reasons that I'm here today running for the state legislature, because we do not have enough legislators that understand the local school system. It needs to be funded. It needs to be funded adequately. And we cannot forget that the achievement gap is throughout Connecticut, but we don't have enough resources to be funding 3. Let's fund 1 and fund it well.